Welcome back. It's another 2023 best of list, and this one might actually get some eyes depending on people who enjoy documentary feature. Um, I'm doing my documentary feature list. I'm finally cutting it off. I don't know what's going to happen to some of the documentaries or where they're going to show up, and if they're going to have audio description for some of them. Like Beyond Utopia just doesn't have audio description, so I haven't seen it. Some of them just, they need audio description, they need to be accessible, but at this point I feel like I'm tired of trying to track down crap that doesn't have audio description to finish out this list. I feel really good about this top 10. If there's something that I missed that I didn't see, sorry, but yeah, there are actually some that are nominated this year for documentary feature that are hard to find and or don't have audio description. That one about the tiger that I didn't even know existed. Most people didn't. I don't think anybody had that in their top five. Yeah, I haven't seen that one. So, I saw 8 of 10 of these with audio description. I'm aware that one of these does have audio description, just not in the way that I watched it. I found that out after the fact. Did not know that at the time. So there is only one film that I am unaware of it having audio description anywhere. So, and it's also Oscar nominated for Best Documentary Feature. Wouldn't you know? We're really killing it this year, aren't we? So these are my 10 picks for Best Documentary Feature, with obviously the winners at the top. They're ranked. This is ranked. The ranked list. This is obviously a blend between streaming and I don't know what was eligible for Oscars and what wasn't. So who knows? So coming in at number 10, Winona Judd, Between Hell and Hallelujah. This was on Paramount Plus, and it does have audio description. I thought this was really good. It's not that I'm a deep fan of Winona or the Judds, or even country music, but I thought the story that it told, Winona being open to the camera, sometimes with people in their lives when they're allowed to tell their own stories, I always wonder, are they gonna tell this like an honest story, or are they just telling us what they want us to hear? And with Winona Judd, Between Hell and Hallelujah, I felt like there were so many things that Winona opened up about that I was pretty sure she was giving us an accurate representation of her and her mother's life. I also loved the people who came in and around to help out, the other icons that joined her on this journey. And it was a nice documentary, and I'm glad it stayed in my top 10 and didn't get knocked out by other documentaries. I actually kept a running list, so it was most likely to be knocked out had I ended up seeing something like Beyond Utopia with audio description. So I'm glad I got to save this one, you know. Number 9, American Pain. This was on Max with audio description. This absolutely did have audio description, and is about the painkiller crisis and some guys in Florida, loving Florida here, love to be here in Florida, and sort of how they got away with running a pain clinics and the money that they made, and uncovering that scandal. It was a really solid documentary, and I feel like it kind of dropped and people just ran away from it. Nobody talked about it ever again. HBO has a lot of documentaries they drop every year, and it's hard to get through all of them. To be fair, they do make a lot of documentaries, but this was one that I thought actually stood out above others. Coming in at number 8, American Symphony on Netflix. I'm really surprised this wasn't nominated for Best Documentary Feature. I did a review of this not that long ago. If you're newer to my channel and you watched it, thank you. I love you. This is about Jon Batiste, and I said there was only one part in this thing that didn't really work for me, and it was just this weird thing where he's just kind of sitting there getting his shoe shined, I was like, what is this scene? Otherwise, the rest of the film I thought told this really great story, and it balanced his the rise of, you know, this great year that he had against also probably one of the worst years of his life as his wife was battling cancer. So um, yeah, very interesting film. I'm glad that at least got a Best Original Song nomination. So it is an Oscar nominee, just not for documentary feature, which feels so weird to say that a documentary is nominated, just not in documentary. Odd. Um, so coming up, number 7, still a Michael J. Fox movie. This is on Apple Plus with audio description. What I really loved about this film was that Michael clearly is okay with him being on camera because he believes that whatever he shows, much like what I do here, is to try to let people know blind people watch movies. And I'm comfortable enough in who I am to be here and to talk about that, so that hopefully it opens it up for the people who aren't. And to talk about audio description, talk about whether or not something is watchable or not watchable from that perspective. And I think Michael J. Fox is willing to do that for Parkinson's disease. And he puts himself out there, and this film celebrates his career, but it celebrates it while also keeping Michael very prominent on camera as someone who is battling Parkinson's, and talking about his, you know, when he found out, when he was diagnosed, and how for a little while he was still working and he knew, and was sort of navigating his life. And we see these celebrities that get hit with illnesses nowadays, like Christina Applegate, and it's incredibly tragic. Selma Blair, and Michael has been battling Parkinson's for a while and still does not shy away from any of that. And I really appreciate what Michael shared with us through this film. So this is on my list. A lot of great documentaries this year. I'm a little sad it didn't get compared based on what the short list was. I never thought they would nominate it. It's the populist documentary of the year. It's the one that normal people like, you know, just regular folk. And the documentary branch never goes for those. They don't go for Won't You Be My Neighbor. They don't go for David Bowie's documentary. I can't think of the name of it right now. Whatever it is, if it does well at the box office, if it whatever, they don't pick those. They didn't even shortlist Goodnight Oppie. So yeah, I was surprised it even got a shortlist, to be honest. Moving up the list, number 6 is Bobby Wine, the People's President. Or if you have a Ugandan accent, I was calling it Bobby Wine because I was like, I was, but that sounds weird when I say it, because I don't have because I don't have an accent that matches it. I'm just talking normally, but Bobby, Bobby. And I was like, oh, it's of course it's Bobby. I'm stupid. Anyway, a couple people like, it's just Bobby with an accent. This is the one that doesn't have audio description. But I like I said when I reviewed it, I actually ended up giving, I did not give this film a grade. This film has no grade from me, no grade given, because I did not want to say unwatchable. And I also acknowledge the fact that this film is inaccessible for blind people. There are too many things here that make this an incredibly hard watch, and there's stuff that we're missing. I did pick up what it was putting down. There's a lot of stuff about the right to vote here, and a country that's trying to find democracy and trying to find freedom, but is essentially in a dictatorship where its leader feels absolutely okay to allow its police and its military to gun down people on election day. And for that kind of documentary, as much as I'm here to champion my own cause and to talk about audio description, when people are getting shot just for trying to vote, I'm not going to put the word unwatchable in front of that, because I feel like it must be watched. You know, like the only way things like that ever stop from happening is by watching them, is by us all knowing that it's happening, so that we can stop it from ever happening again. So God damn it, Bobby Wine is one of the most important documentaries of the year because of that reason. It's available on Disney Plus. It does not have audio description. It is nominated this year, so it could win documentary feature. It might win. Coming up on my list next is Going to Mars, the Nikki Giovanni project. This is, I guess, number 5 on my list. Just a really well-made documentary. I knew nothing about Nikki, and I felt horrible for not knowing who she was. So this is a girl who just casually has the president link on her phone. She's just talking to like Joe and Jill, first name basis, you know. It's like this year we had a film about Rustin, for people who didn't know who Bayard Rustin was. We had a documentary about Nikki Giovanni. These people who are involved in the civil rights movement that we don't always talk about nearly as much. Like right now, there's a series that's MLKX. Listen, there's a lot you can find about MLK and Malcolm X out there. I'm not saying we shouldn't have that series, but we'd be doing ourselves a world of good for continuing to feature people like Nikki Giovanni out there in the world, and Bayard Rustin, LGBT icons who also participated in the civil rights movement and just don't get the recognition that they deserve. So I'm really sad that this didn't get an Oscar nomination. I thought it would. It was shortlisted also. I don't like their list of documentary features this year, which is one of the reasons why I don't care. I've seen The Eternal Memory. I would not have nominated it. Anyway, not that it's bad. I just wouldn't have nominated it. It just didn't make my top 10. A longer list, sure. I mean, if I had done like a top 20, yeah, sure. But yeah, I just thought there were more powerful documentaries this year. This being one of them. This was a great documentary. Number 4 is Judy Blume Forever, which just at the beginning of the year, I came into this year with Judy Blume. I was like, I don't know. I didn't really read Judy Blume as a kid. I read Beverly Cleary, the other artist, the other author nobody ever talks about. I read Beverly Cleary as a kid. I didn't read Judy Blume. She was more of a 70s author. And so it wasn't really my thing. And then I watched the documentary and I was like, oh, I love this woman. You know, this documentary introduced me to somebody that I had no connection to. And I ended up loving her. I love that she's fighting against banned books. She has this library this bookshop down in Key West that just celebrates the selling of books that have been banned in this country. I love her story. I love the fire that she's always had in talking about the importance of reading and the importance of sharing ideas that are different than our own. This is a great documentary, and it's not just about Judy Blume. It's just about the idea in this day and age when we have so many people that are trying to take books off the shelves and keep people from reading things. Still in 2023, I can't believe it's still a thing that we're doing. People you don't want to read it, so you don't want anybody else to read it. Like, do you not have self-restraint? Are you worried that if it stays on the shelf too long that you'll end up reading it? Like, I don't understand. I just don't get this idea of there are things that I don't agree with, but I'm not out there going like, oh, we need to remove this so that no one can watch this. I'm just like, I don't like it. I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to read it. You know? You actually have that option. Anyway. So I love Judy Blume Forever. It's on Amazon Prime. So check it out. Moving up the list. The Insurrectionist Next Door. Obviously, you guys are starting to see where this is headed in life. But I didn't like this because of necessarily the politics of it. I thought the documentary was incredibly interesting, and it would have been interesting if you had taken the politics out of it. It's a documentary that it sounds like, oh, great, we're going to go talk to some people who raided the Capitol on January 6th, you know? But it's done by Alexandra Pelosi, Nancy Pelosi's daughter, is the documentarian that's going door to door. So it's essentially somebody is going around and being like, why did you want to kill my mother? And to me, I laugh, but it's, it's a serious question. That is what's interesting about this film, is that she's confronting somebody and saying, why did you try to do this? And even if this wasn't politics, even if this wasn't the Pelosi's, even if this wasn't January 6th rioters, to me, that concept was incredibly interesting, that she was willing to have this dialogue with people who, uh, some of them were trying to hang Nancy Pelosi. Not necessarily the people featured in the documentary, but she couldn't find everybody. Like hundreds of people were there that day. She didn't interview hundreds of people, but the conversation comes up and she tries to understand their point of view. And I feel like she didn't cut them to make them look stupid. One of the documentaries last year that I liked was Displaced Rules, because it was a guy that got a lot of people on both sides, by the way. There were people on the left saying some really dumb shit too, who just got sound bites of dumb shit. And it was entertaining. But this one, I feel like Alexandra, while maybe she's a little bit abrasive, because coming in hot with, like, so why'd you do it? Why did you, why did you want to kill my mom? Maybe she does actually, and those who edited the film and released it actually did give these people the opportunity to say what they need to say and not edit the shit out of them. So it's a documentary that the people who are going to write this off are never going to watch it. So sadly that was wasted. It was a wasted effort to try to let these people speak, because it wouldn't have mattered. It's going to land with one audience and one audience only. So moving up the list
Stamped from the beginning
is I think we're at my runner-up. So this is Stamped from the Beginning on Netflix. This is a documentary that's done in mixed mode. This also was Oscar shortlisted and also should be nominated this year. I don't know why it's not. It's available on Netflix. You can watch it. It's an incredibly important documentary. And I learned a lot while watching it. And it's kind of set up really well for like a classroom, to be honest. It has a lot of great arguments and theories and concepts, and people who come in and talk about ideas related to race and the Black experience in America, and everything. Just a really fantastic documentary that, I guess, based on the list of potential winners, I would have voted for this to win based on what their shortlist was. So because my pick for number one didn't even get the shortlist, guys, didn't even make the shortlist. What the fuck? So, although my number one and my number two are incredibly close, I mean, like, coin flip, because they're both from a perspective that's not my own, that I honor and absolutely just accepted, and was I don't know, I just felt like after the documentary, I felt like I knew more than I did than before, which is something that I love to do regardless of the subject matter, whether it's about race or whether or not it's about anything. If I just leave the documentary feeling like I have learned something about something, somehow I feel like that documentary has succeeded. I don't always like documentaries. There was that one with the birds last year, the carnivorous birds. What the fuck is that movie called? All That Remains, or I don't know what it was. It did nothing for me. I felt like it had a subject and it didn't teach me. It didn't do anything. It just was like, this is what we're doing. Rescuing these things. Great. Keep up the good work. So my pick for best documentary feature of the year is Lakota Nation versus United States. I just do not know. This film hasn't gotten a lot of traction anywhere. It doesn't even have that many festival nominations. It just didn't get a lot of traction. I blame its distributor for being terrible at campaigning, but this does have audio description on demand. I saw it, I believe, in the Apple Store. You can get this with audio description. I watched it on AMC Plus without audio description, but I still, it's pretty much talking. You know, it's pretty much somebody is constantly telling you the story and the experience and explaining to you all of this stuff about why things are the way that they are and what happened here and what you know. And you feel like it's a voice that isn't heard much. We don't hear a lot from Native Americans in film and documentary straight from their mouth. Usually it's interpreted, like Killers of the Flower Moon. Man, we went the other way this year. Instead of recognizing a film that's actually directed by Native Americans, about the Native American experience, about a real life Native American experience that's currently happening, we instead gave a Best Picture nomination to the one that was directed by the white guy that stars and is featuring the white male protagonist and Leonardo DiCaprio. And we ended up nominating Robert De Niro. Just the SAG nominations out of that film are incredibly problematic, as they nominated virtually no Native American actors. So, and it just goes to show that the structure of that film was completely off. A film that is supposed to be about something ended up actually being so taken the opposite way that basically the takeaway is just Lily Gladstone. She's representing an entire culture, and that's been the problem for a long time, is that oftentimes all you're able to get is one voice, but it should be the voice of the many. And that's what you get in Lakota Nation, is you get people behind and in front and on camera, it just as even just like a narrative voice. I mean, like on screen or whatever. In this production, just being real with you, just telling you exactly what it is that they go through, that they need, their hopes and dreams for the future, everything like that. So, Lakota Nation versus United States is my pick for best documentary feature of the year, and I'm proud to have it there. That was an excellent documentary. So that's it. That's my list of top 10, closing the book on documentary feature for the year. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will be back with another list tomorrow. So, till then, see you guys on the other side.